Now, there was a time when they used to say that behind every great man, there had to be a great woman. But in these times of change, you know that's no longer true. So we're coming out of the kitchen because there's something we forgot to say to you. Those of you of a certain age might remember Aretha Franklin and Annie Lennox crooning that sisters are doing it for themselves. This was all the way back in 1985. Crazy to think that it would be nearly 4 decades later before the city of Paramount could say they were one of the few in the state to have an all-female city council. In honor of Women's History Month, we're joined now by one of those pioneering ladies. Councilmember and former Mayor Peggy Lemons is with us from the city of Paramount. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you for having me, Alex.
You have been on this council for more than 20 years now. You've served as the mayor for 6 terms. That is quite a career in politics. I'm so curious what initially inspired you to get involved in local politics there.
Well, I got involved like a lot of people do because there was an issue in the community in my particular neighborhood during the time of the Night Stalker, which some people may remember. There was actually an elderly woman that was murdered, and we wanted answers and we wanted to prevent it from happening again. So I became the spokesperson for my neighborhood to lobby to get lighting around the railway that surrounded the neighborhood. And we felt that if the area was lit up, we would be less likely to have incidents of crime there. So I came to City Hall lobbying for that to happen.
What a fascinating origin story. And you know, it kind of goes to the city motto we see right behind you there: safe, healthy, and attractive. I'm curious, do you find that being on a city council that is all women, does it affect how you operate as a governing body at all, do you think?
Having served with men and women during my time on the council, I would say it really has much more to do with individuals. But overall, I do find that, you know, women tend to look at issues that men may not think about. You know, we still are the main caregivers in our home. So when we take action on certain items, we do always try to take into account, well, how will this affect the family? How will this affect children? Are the needs being met? You know, are there babysitters at this event? Is there a section for the children? Recently, when we dealt with all of the issues surrounding the pandemic, we took part in helping our school district provide tutoring, free tutoring for all of the children were taking classes at home and needed additional help. And we put city dollars behind it and helped pay for the tutoring for all of the children during the pandemic.
No, that's fascinating. And I feel like on that pandemic front, of course, women as mothers and caregivers might have that different lens on it all. I'm curious, Councilmember Lemons, that we've also been hearing so much about the ire, the opposition that local government officials have faced during the pandemic. You know, the angry city council meetings, the angry school board meetings. I'm curious, have you and your colleagues there in Paramount experienced any of that? And if so, do you feel like that might discourage women out there from getting involved in local politics as you did?
Well, I don't know if our situation was unique, but at least at the city council level, we really didn't have that. But again, maybe being women and experiencing the day-to-day issues that went with the pandemic, we were really proactive about what we needed to do for our community and try to address those needs before people even asked us. You know, the minute that we had heard from just the health department that masks were going to be needed and required before we even got the mandate from the county, we ordered 30,000 masks and began immediate distribution of them throughout the city because at that time they were very difficult to get a hold of. And just given the demographics of our city, we wanted to make sure that everybody had that as a basic necessity. We also started offering food banks right away. I think we had at least 10 10 different food banks throughout the pandemic. As I said, we did the tutoring. We knew that seniors were at home and didn't have access, so we did picking up of prescriptions, and we paid well visits to them because we knew their families couldn't get to them and see them. When their birthdays came around, we went directly to their homes and we sang happy birthday to them and played music for them and tried to keep them engaged. Our children's after school program that normally went on, we paid visits to those children homes. So again, we didn't face angry residents. We faced really grateful residents for meeting their needs as they came along. Of course, there was the rental assistance that a lot of communities provided. But everything that we were facing as families at home, and maybe that's one of those differences. I don't know if that would have happened with an all-male council, but it certainly happened with us. We saw those needs happening in real time, and we were dealing with them in real time.
You make a pretty good case for more women in local government. We're getting there, but we're not quite there yet. According to the group Grassroots Lab, women only make up 39% of California city seats. I'm curious why you think that might be.
I think it's just a fact that everything new takes time. I think that we're making a real impression. I think that we're doing a great job. I think that women have always been multitaskers, and we've had a great number of jobs to deal with. So I think that seeing that we can be present and accountable all the time, even though, many of us have full-time jobs, we have parents or grandchildren, all of the other things to deal with, we're very present and we're very available. And I think that makes a real difference to the community. They want that. They want to know that they have easy access to their city council. And as I said, I think that probably we do address some issues differently. We always think, well, how's this going to affect mom? How's this going to affect the children? What kind of working household is it? Is mom and dad both working? If so, they're going to have some additional help in this regard. Transportation, when we did the vaccination clinics and we did the COVID testing, we always kept all of those things in mind and had staff there for when mom came and got her shot that could take the kids and give them coloring books and
because that's key. You're not getting anything done if you can't entertain the kids. Sadly, we've got to go to our commercial break. But Peggy Lemons, it has been such an honor speaking with you tonight. Thank you so much for making the time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.